Please welcome Mayor Muriel Bowser, Mayor of Washington, D.C., in conversation with Jonathan Capehart, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and associate editor at The Washington Post.
Hi. Mayor Bowser, we have less than 10 minutes. So, you've been in office for almost 10 years.
Yep.
Can you talk about your mayoralty and how you govern through a public health lens?
Sure, and it's great to be with you and to be with all of you. And I consider it a privilege that the people have given me almost 10 years to serve. I'm in my third term and will serve at least another 2 years. And I think what that has allowed us to do is to see initiatives from start to finish. And we have been able to stand up, for example, our strategies to combat fentanyl, which is a public health crisis. We have governed through the COVID era, and we're still figuring out lessons learned from that era. And we have been able to focus on health in all policies, which I set out to do when I was a candidate for mayor, and we're seeing the results of that. What our overall goal is, though, is for D.C. residents to live healthy lives where they thrive and live long lives, and to close gaps. On one side of our city, we have a life expectancy of 72 for a black man and 87 on the other side of our city for a white woman. And so what we know is that when we put these policies across government, whether it's our public schools where we have healthy food or our public housing where we are removing lead paint, these are the types of strategies that will help D.C. residents live longer, healthier lives.
Now, you mentioned addressing fentanyl, but a major focus area of the Bloomberg American Health Initiative is addiction and overdose. How are you addressing the challenges of residents living with addiction?
Well, I think, and I don't mind sharing this, that during the COVID pandemic, where we reorganized our government to address this public health crisis, at the same time we were experiencing this fentanyl overdose crisis, and we looked back a year into it and realized how many people were dying of overdoses and how we had to put strategies in place. And I think as a government, overall, we are pursuing harm reduction strategies and trying and making sure we're trying the things that work. Now, the people who have died and are dying in the district from fentanyl overdoses don't look like Middle America, or it doesn't look like the problem that Middle America has. And so we had to make sure that our strategies were actually addressing our population, older men primarily, and how we could get to them, get to their homes, get harm reduction strategies, and get care. One of the things that we've put in place and that we're seeing an immediate result is stabilization centers. We have funded and will open another 2 in our city. But this is having also the impact of helping our healthcare system. We saw our 911 call system, our ambulances, and our ERs inundated with people who needed to be stabilized because of overdose or intoxication. And they would go in the ER, they weren't getting the proper care, the right care at the right time, and then they would go back on the street. And so we just saw this cycle over and over again. But it also meant that someone having a heart attack or some other medical emergency wasn't getting to the ambulance or getting the right care at the ER. So these stabilization centers have allowed us to get people in a safe place where they can detox, but then also be in a place where care professionals can get them connected to care. And so in the last year, we've seen a 25% reduction in our fentanyl deaths, which we think is dramatic. But we've also seen, more people, because they've been in a stabilization environment, they've been able to, in some cases, establish relationships with care professionals, are getting connected to care. And we're in the process now of, working with the community to open another one. But that process of having communities accept these centers of care is also been a learning experience.
And we don't have enough time to talk about that about that experience. Another area of concern is gun violence. What's been the district's approach to tackling gun violence?
Well, we have a spectrum of services and activities where we address it. And Jonathan, we had a tough year in 2024 and 2023 with crime. We saw it as the perfect storm of pandemic-related things. People being disconnected from jobs, courts not being open, any number of things leading to increases in crime. And we spent a long time working with our legislature to really reset our public safety ecosystem. And we know that the results have been pretty significant. We've had a 35% overall decrease in crime, and that's including homicide, use of guns, robbery, carjacking, which had been our chief problem, all because we really reset and refocused on violent crime. And a lot of it, we've been following a public health approach to violence for as long as I've been mayor. But we also have to make sure that the system includes accountability, and that's what really needed to be reset. Part of what we do also is we have an Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement where we've invested millions of dollars with really focusing on the people who are committing crime in our city. And it's a small number of people. And unfortunately, it's that small number of people over and over again who are creating the most problems in neighborhoods. So we've been focused on that group, how to connect them to behavioral therapy, how we subsidize employment, and also how we treat trauma in communities for people who are committing crime, who are victims of crime, and the people are attached to them. And we think over time that's going to help. But getting more people connected, and I also think behavioral health care is a spectrum. Some people are on the deep end of the clinical side. Other people, if you connect them to life coaches and navigators of systems, they will be able to connect to opportunity.
We're in a room filled with public health trained folks, a room filled with them. So what's your pitch for why they should work in local government?
Oh, local government's the best. And I mean that, and especially this local government is the best. DC is unique. You've heard me say this 1,000 times, but we are a city, a state, a county, a school district, a jail system. We do it all, unlike a school system that the mayor manages and controls. And so there are literally 14 of us, me and 13 council members, who make decisions about a $20 billion budget. So there are ideas that I can have, or you could have, that we could implement in sometimes the space of 6 months, but certainly one budget cycle, and try things. Like sometimes we try things that don't work, but then we try something else. And you can do that in local government. We also are a great place to live. There are people who come in local government, especially, like times like this and transitions that start looking for an exciting government opportunity. And DC is hiring. We are especially hiring behavioral health experts. We need more behavioral health experts in our schools, for example, to meet our own goals of having kids and families connected. We see that as an important link.
That's hilarious, because I literally wrote down, sounds like you're hiring. All right, Madam Mayor, we have less than a minute left, so I'm going to take moderator's prerogative. You are in your third term, nearly 10 years. As you said, You were able to actually start and see the progress of things you have implemented. Going to run for a fourth term?
We've done a lot of things. We have a lot of things to do. And I'll tell you the reason I ran for a third term.
In 25 seconds.
In 25 seconds. We had to, I feel very strongly about bringing the city back from COVID, revitalizing our downtown, getting people back to work, making sure we have a strong economy. Now I feel very strongly that I get the city through this transition, but lots of people have great ideas, and I'm committed to the city more than anything.
Actually, in the 1 second we have left, looking forward to the next presidential administration.
I've been here before, be here again, and this is what I know: I will be here in 4 years. So I'm going to work with. It's our job. It's our job to work with whoever the people send us, and that means the president, the Congress, and we'll approach this one like we did in 2017.
Muriel Bowser, the 8th mayor of the District of Columbia. Thank you very much.